Hey guys, hey movie mystics, hey darlings, what's good? So, 8 more reviews for the New York Creation Film Festival. The festival is done. It's been done since Sunday. So, here's my final batch of reviews. I've been a little busy, so here they are. Let's get right to it, I guess. Time to Be Strong is a very angsty coming of age tale from South Korea. A group of has-been K-pop stars hit the road, but not just for a tour, just to feel kind of horrible about themselves. Don't be too harsh with them. To lose something amazing hurts, and it's easy to be smug about it, but maybe you just have nothing in your own life to compare their experience to. Anyways, it does get to be a bit of a headache. The actors are cool, but the material is just a little grating. A bit of a one-trick pony, but there are moments of interest spread out throughout the film. The whole experience is melancholy, but there is no extreme or out of place violence. It's an emotional ride. It doesn't feel too jarring out of what it's trying to be. The whole K-pop world is interesting to see. We see plenty of has-been stars here in the West having their identity crises. So why would it be any different in this realm over in South Korea? I like road movies. I like coming of age movies, and I like this movie too. It just wasn't an overwhelmingly positive experience. There was some rough spots on the road, but maybe there wasn't enough time to smooth it out. Okay. We got another one from South Korea. Horoomon is a neat South Korean documentary which looks at a Japanese lady living in South Korea. She's third generation and things can get a little spicy, which makes things interesting. It has a metaphorical component to it as well as a generational one. It feels as if conceptually the experience may not work, but it feels contained and it does indeed work. Perhaps it is because it is fully realized. It comes from the space, from space, uh, some real place. It is well-made, naturally toned documentary, as well as being a bit of a conceptually dense one. The conviction and likability of our main subjects makes it all come together. I believe if she talked in half measures and didn't believe in herself, or having that deflating sense of fun, this may not work. If you're interested in seeing nice people with an activist bent, then this documentary is proof that such a person does indeed exist in this lifetime. It is neither sanctimonious or lacking substance. It's this rare combination that makes it work. Whatever the documentary is about becomes secondary. Although it is important, likable people come forward here to try to and right some wrongs. Okay. Okay, now we're going to China. We did 2 for South Korea. Going back to China, going back to 3.5 stars. Deep in the Mountains has a frustrating series of events that concludes the tale that shows that nothing was much of anything within the fabric of the story cohesively. Feels like a bit of a cheat, a bit of a hat trick. Given that there is this structural flaw in it, one could just hone in on that and talk about how the whole experience is unappealing. But there are good actors and a nice visual sense of things. It's by a first time director, but long-time Jane Yamu collaborator, friend of the show. There is still hope for this guy if he gets to direct more movies, in my opinion. It is hard to tiptoe around things, but I don't want to reveal the contents of what is wrong with the movie because it comes in late. And even though this movie didn't thrill me, I can't ruin the experience by spelling it out. The movie does start off with some interesting shots that are suggestive and laid out nicely in a metaphorical fashion, but the end result cheapens what we have experienced. The scenery is nice here. I like the sets themselves, and the natural world that we do see here. Some of the acting is subtle, while other performances are bolder and slightly erratic. I guess I like the whole experience. I guess I do. Maybe I don't. Okay, now we're going to Mongolia. Travesty is pretty cool. It's set in Mongolia, which is still a novel setting for me as a viewer. But what it does offer in terms of atmosphere isn't really paid off in terms of a plot. We get a lot of people scheming and talking. It's like an elevated talking heads genre movie with a dash of mysticism, but it's far from being the ultimate contemporary cinematic experience from Mongolia. But it is cool to see the leaning in on genre from this mystical land. It does captivate for a bit, and it is a quick movie, so it's never headache inducing. The movie compared to Jimpa, though, cannot be done, or even Snow Leopard. It's cool for a romp, and it isn't quite as interchangeable as so many genre movies are from mainland China these days. It is cool without being really cool. Maybe it will be really cool for you if you haven't seen Jimpa, though. I appreciated its attitude and the intent for its kind of movie it wants to be, but wanted a little bit more than what we got. It's a cool travelogue film without ever really exciting me. Anyway, I did interview the director, though, and he was a cool guy. And I feel a little bit better for not changing this review at all. But that's how I felt. Moving on to Gila Mongolian Horse. Okay, so we're obviously sticking to Mongolia. To Kill a Mongolian Horse shows a promising national film industry emerging from Mongolia. They produce some exceptional things sometimes, and this is further proof that more can happen in the future. It may not be exceptionally good, but it is quite good. It is picturesque, well staged, vibe centric from a minimal approach, and shows off some good acting that is certainly authentic. The shots of the horse show and the landscape, and even the staging in small apartments, show off a nice visual flair that I bet Jean-Pierre Melville could see creates a rich sense of vibes. We veer off a bit into the misery porn territory. There is some voluntary exoticization of the material. While it's understandable and not out of control. I want to see more from these creators. It feels like trial and error. The more they work, the more they will find projects that stick. This is no Jimpa, but it's near that territory. It's getting near to that territory, and a good sign of things to come. It's great to have the New York Asian Film Festival play films from this country, and it was a pleasure to interview a Mongolian director this year. I've never had a conversation with someone with a translator in that language before. It's true, it was a lot of fun, and it's a long interview too. It's nearly half an hour. Okay, Babanbabanban vampire, whatever, has a high level of fun in it. It's a wacky Japanese vampire movie that starts off weird and funny and ends that way too, but with some character and tone development along the way. I kind of didn't expect it to go there, but it's not merely a cultural sugar high. It is that with a good enough script and acting to have some appeal to a Western audience that is accustomed to wild Japanese movies. This movie is fun throughout and has cool, weird violence in it. The whole film can be described as a good time, and it's nice to see that the Van Helsing character in there as well. There's even a Blade 2-esque vampire character. Maybe that'll become a new go-to trope for vampire tales going forward. The vampire who hunts vampires as well. The final showdown is something else. I like the violence and the strangeness, but weirdly, there's a heart here in this tale about the heartless. It may not be necessary for every telling of a vampire story, but it works for this one. The costumes are neat, the tropes are fun, the tone is light, weird, and dark at once somehow. And it'll end up convincing you that nothing has to be anything and the vampire movies can still reinvent themselves. Okay, now we're sticking in Japan. So I guess it's just two from Japan here. What we got? We got two from South Korea, one from China, two from Mongolia, and we got one more review after this. It's from the Philippines. And then we got two from Japan. Okay, all right. There's something in Ravens that will speak to you if you know the art life and the desperation that follows from being obscure, or even just on the fringes of ordinary life. We follow a photographer who does not appreciate his position, but is not really appreciated due to the cultural norms of his day. He sort of gets no respect by the people around him, and his alcoholism compounds the despair. He talks to a Raven man who speaks to him in English, while everyone else speaks Japanese. The pictures he takes are cool, and he's even admired, but he's supposed to be a normie for his parents' and girlfriend's sake. There's some suicidal content here as well. It even starts off with an attempt. This is emotionally pretty grisly, but not unbearable. It should be mentioned that we go there as viewers more than once. The tone might be dark, but we get a trip to the Museum of Modern Art in New York City, accompanied by Lou Reed music. So there are moments of joy and certainly brilliance within a life of despair. I think that this movie is very acceptable, well acted, visually engaging, and not excessively dark for the essentially mature audience which it seeks. Oh. Okay, sorry. Oh, choking. All right. That'll happen. The fluids. Okay, Flower Girl. 5 out of 5. Flower Girl should be appealing for everyone. It's spicy stuff, though. Our sassy protagonist is living a peak Filipino female life when she makes a huge mistake. She disses a transgender woman in the washroom. She then loses her peak life because she loses her lovely vagina. She loses her boyfriend and her mental state goes downhill, so then she loses her job. It's all about accepting people who they are and or where they are at. So refusal to do so can land you with a bad vibe. Hex, losing a vagina is no joke for any sexually active lady and quite a price to pay. She eventually meets a guy named Dick who was in a similar sticky situation. Then she learns after some half measures how to land her vagina back. And it's just as sweet of a scenario as you might think. While this movie is really funny, in my opinion, it doesn't ultimately have a nice message. It just goes through some nasty magic to arrive at that point. Naturally, it will offend the thin-skinned. I say that's okay though. They just don't need to seek this movie out, and the rest of us can laugh. It does have a pro-trans message though, even if it's a sticky situation, and the script is, dare I say, brilliant. Boom. Did it. Reviewed the films of the New York Asian Film Festival, which I saw, which was 20. They definitely played more than that. Far more than that, and that's okay. But maybe more like 80, 100, whatever. I saw 20. I'm really happy about that. Did 3 streams. I'm gonna rank this maybe today for Letterboxd, and then I'll get it up on YouTube. Not next week, maybe the week after, maybe sometime just in August. I'll commit to that. Anyways, I've been babbling for a while now. It's 9:46 a.m. Eastern time over here, and I got to do some things. So, my movie mystics, my darlings, peace out. Have a nice day. It's been fun.